All right, so what's up, y'all? I wanted to take this quick moment to share a story time with y'all. Don't very much so get a chance to do these types of things, but I thought it would be really, really cool. Throw something new out there. See how you guys like this. So this basically takes me back to a date back in, I want to say, around October of 1997. I was fresh out of basic training, about a month and a half or so, out of Chicago for the U.S. Navy, obviously. And I was being transported down to Guantanamo Bay to pick up and meet up with my ship. Okay, so my ship was already underway once I exited out of basic training. So generally, when you exit out of basic training, you either go home on leave for a couple of weeks, or if you want to bypass that and save your leave for a later date, they will just MAC flight you straight to the ship or to your duty station. All right. So my duty station was a fast frigate guided missile ship, and it was underway on counter drug ops mission. So funny enough, I was thrust right into the middle of a counter drug ops operation right out of basic training. And so they shipped me down on MAC flight. They flew me out to Guantanamo Bay, and I had to stay there for about 3 weeks on that godforsaken base, chasing the iguanas around, waiting on my ship to come back in for fuel uploads and all that stuff. So eventually my ship arrives, me and one of the guys that I had basically spent some time with in Chicago. He flew down with me. We all met there, and we were staying at the barracks on the base, right? Hitting up the Navy Exchange and all that stuff, going to McDonald's on the base and, chilling, enjoying time, enjoying the intro to our new naval career. And so we're headed down, and we're actually there. We arrived safely, all that. We took the flight down there. We're waiting on our ship to arrive. Finally, it does, about 2.5, 3 weeks later. And so they onboard us on the ship. They go take us through orientation, all this good stuff. And there's three of us. Cat by the name of Wilson and other dude by the name of Powers. So it was three of us. And we all got on the ship, and we were, indoctrinated and, walked through, shown the do's and don'ts of what to do on the ship, what not to do, what's acceptable, what's not. We were what were called boots or boot campers, because we were new. It's like the equivalent to being a rookie. That's what they call brand new people fresh out of boot camp. So basically, we are on the ship and we're underway, and everything is weird. We get indoctrinated, we get passed through to the berthing, we get shown the entire ship in about 2 days, walking around or whatever have you, getting to, take in the sights and sounds and the smells of the ship. It was some smells, sight, and sounds I would never forget in my entire life, So, we're underway now. So we're finally out to sea. Never seen that much water in my life on a ship, a boat, or anything, And I mean, it was so much water. You look around, you spin around in a 360-degree circle, and you see nothing but water, no land. That was sunrise to sunset every day. You'd see nothing but water. And then you'd see the occasional flicker of a light of another ship or some type of boat on the horizon far out somewhere. And they taught us how to read, if the ship was coming or going, we was running into. So we wouldn't run into the ship. So I was a lookout at that time. And I was training to become a helmsman. So that's what I was in there to do, is to operate. So eventually my job would be operating and driving the ship. Okay, so that was my role. So I would say in about a month or so, we had been underway. We'd already been to like 3 countries by then. Been to Jamaica and Aruba and Curacao, enjoying, having a blast, chilling at these countries, partying, doing all the wild stuff that 18-year-old kids do. Because I was only 18 at the time. So I was a newbie, fresh out of the house, fresh out of, on the global circuit, if you will. So we're actually on this counter drug ops cruise. Counter drug ops cruise lasts about 3 months, and a deployment lasts about 6 months. So we hadn't quite got to deployment status yet, but we were on counter drug ops mission. So We're in the Caribbean. We have just left Cuba for unloading new food and also taking on some fuel, right? So went down there to fuel up and to stock the freezers with new fresh food. So we did that, food unload, ammo unload, and fuel, charge up or whatever have you. So we're on the water now. We're back. So we're heading towards Panama. And we're down off the coast of Panama and Curacao, Venezuela, that little area down in there in the Caribbean or the Caribbean, however you want to pronounce that. And then I'm on forward lookout one day. Forward lookout is the forwardmost portion of the ship on the starboard side, which is basically the left-hand side of the ship. So I'm over there checking out everything and I'm looking, and all of a sudden I'm like scanning the horizon. I got my headset on so I can communicate with the bridge. The bridge is below me because that's where the captain is. That's where the XO is. That's where the operations specialists are. That's where the quartermasters are. That's where all of the helmsmen are who are actually driving. See, watch rotation is about 4 different stations. So you have your forward lookout, you have your bridge, you have your aft lookout, and you have and then when you're out to sea, most times you on the forecastle or you well up high on the stanchion barriers up where the gunner's mates mount for the gunners, where they take the 50 calibers up there for shooting or whatever have you. So if they ever had to get into a shootout with another ship or another enemy entity, they're poised to take them out really quickly. So I'm on forward lookout and I see something and I radio it down to the bridge and I'm telling the XO, hey, XO, I see, some type of unit on the waterfront. I'm scanning the horizon. I'm giving him the latitude and longitude of where I see it. They immediately zoom in and they also see it. So this began of us actually, tracking this particular vessel. Now we're tracking this thing for hours. I mean, we were probably out there tracking this thing for 2 or 3 hours before we even got close enough to make contact with it. And as we're traveling, we're chasing this thing down. They started picking up speed and so did we. By this time, you rotate watch stations every hour on the hour. So I'm already rotated up to the top of the ship. And then the helmsman is already rotated out. So I've already rotated through the bridge. I've already operated the ship and driven for about an hour. Then I'd have rotated out. I was probably on watch for about 3.5 or 4 hours or so. And, watch section lasts about 4 hours. So I'm on watch when this whole thing goes down. So I'm up on the top, I'm way up on the top near the satellites, up where the gunner's mates mount their 50 calibers. So I'm up there and all of a sudden I'm zooming in with my binoculars. I could see this boat. Now it's very, very close because we closed in. We're going about 35 knots. And I noticed this thing and I'm like, oh man, this thing is getting pretty close. I'm looking and they just notice us because they're looking back at me. I'm looking at them with binoculars. They're looking back at me with binoculars. I'm like, oh yeah, they see me. And this thing is pretty big. I mean, this boat isn't like a small little boat. It's pretty sizable for what it was. But I noticed it was covered with blue tarps all across the entire little boat. But it was deep enough where they can come up and look and peek at us and then go back down below. But I noticed one of them had an assault rifle. I don't know if it was an AK or what it was. From that distance, I couldn't really tell. But I knew it was a rifle. And I'm like calling down to the bridge, hey, they're armed. There's a rifle on there. I see a guy. And it's like 3 of them are peeking at me. They're coming up, they're looking. I saw 3 heads just looking at me. One guy had the rifle, but he never pointed it, but he was looking at us. So I called down and the captain says, hey, gunner's mates mount up. And we had this one big gunner's mate. His name was Turner. This dude was so big, man. All I heard after I radioed down there, man, I heard probably boots. I heard the boondockers coming up the stanchions, up the ladder. About 7 minutes later, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. They all come running up the stanchions, right? They coming to mount up and jump up on top of this thing. So I see 4 gunner's mates coming up the stanchion ladder, and they all came up with their 50 caliber. It was like 350 calibers, all the other guys were carrying ammo and the ammo boxes. They all come up and they all getting ready to go. So they locking and loading their 50 calibers on the stanchion. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. And I'm like, it's about to be crazy up in this place, man. So, they lock and load. We're getting ready to go. And it's about to get wild. Now, during the course of this whole thing, I'm about to lose my mind. But it looks like I'm going to have to come back for a part 2 because this story is about to get wild and I'm about out of time for this video. But look, this is part 1. Don't worry, I got y'all covered. We'll upload for part 2 when I come back. All right. So I appreciate y'all listening to part 1. The story gets way better.